The Honeycomb Echo is an all-in-one flight control solution that looks like an Xbox controller and an airplane had a baby. But it's not a chimeric horror. Instead, it actually rules and fits easily into anyone's flight sim setup. I finally got my hands on one, thanks to the nice people at Honeycomb, and let me just say, whether or not you're a hardcore simmer or someone just starting out in the world of Microsoft Flight Simulator, this is 100% a controller you should consider adding to your hardware setup. If you've been following along, you might already know that I'm a pretty serious simmer. It's one of the few areas where I take things with the dour face of a man locked in. When I'm playing Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, it doesn't matter what aircraft I'm flying, I am turning off all the assists. That's right, friends. Every time I sit down in my virtual cockpit, a dead-end hallway in my house where I built a desk out of some scrap pallet wood, I'm treating it like I'm about to embark on a for-real flight. I walk around my aircraft to make sure everything is good to go. I go through every checklist step by step before I even think about asking the tower for permission to taxi. I act like the lives of dozens or even hundreds of travelers hangs in the balance. And I fully recognize just how dumb that is. But I wouldn't want it any other way. Part of this ritual involves setting up my flight controls, of which I have several options. For the most part, I fly the same mail route from my local airport in Maine to several of its year-round island communities. Yes, I have literally the entire world at my fingertips, with more than 100 aircraft to choose from, and I pretend I'm delivering a Cessna full of Amazon packages to fishermen on Vinyl Haven Island. None of what I do makes sense, even to me sometimes. If you're also a hardscrabble simmer, aka a dad, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What's up, brothers and sisters? Anyway, as much as I value the authenticity of having a yoke and a throttle quadrant and a rudder setup, it kind of robs me of enjoyment because I know I'm just gonna have to take it all down again. Yes, I have a tiny corner of my house dedicated to my PC, but what I don't have is a dedicated PC just for flight sim. Not yet, at least. I haven't even reached my final UNC form. What this means is when I'm not using my PC to fly airplanes and helicopters, I'm using it for other dad games like Hearts of Iron 4 or WW1 Izanzo. You know, the kind of games that use a mouse and keyboard. Side note, I also use the PC for productive stuff too. It's not just for fun, just mostly. My inherent laziness just nags at me the entire time I'm flying with my full setup. It's like a little cartoon devil on my shoulder saying stuff like, "Hey man, this is cool, but when it all ends, you have to disconnect all this stuff and put it away again. That sucks, huh?" I know, it sounds stupid, but as we established, I'm a very stupid man. And this, my friends, is what makes the Honeycomb Echo so wonderful. It somehow packs almost everything I crave in a flight controller into a space the size of a standard Xbox controller. Seriously, there's a throttle quadrant, trim wheel, flaps lever. There are even tiny little steering pedals on the back so you can zip around taxiways like a true simmer. What's even better is, like its bigger siblings, you can customize the controls to your liking based on what sort of aircraft you prefer to fly. It is very much a page from Honeycomb's Bravo quadrant, which includes a set of commercial and private aircraft lever knob thingies. But these are much tinier and more adorable. Even though it's a smaller controller, Honeycomb still tossed in the little knobs to swap out on the levers to bring it in line with different aircraft. There are 9 lever options on this thing, seriously. You wanna fly with some general aviation levers? Do it! Swap out the middle 2 for the blue and red. Oh, and how about Airbus levers? Yup, they're in there too. Did you think they forgot about Boeing? Because they did not. Not even close. There are levers to configure your controller for those aircraft too. It's all laid out in the manual, which was nice of them. I'm gonna show the manual now. You can also find them online or find one of the many YouTube simmers out there making suggestions for the Bravo quadrant and just, adapt. Also, you don't have to follow their suggestions. You can just use the default standard setup right out of the box if you're also a fan of unflavored seltzer water or trotting through life with no deviations from the center lane. I'll call you Mr. Good Enough. After you swap all your levers around, you can hop over to the Honeycomb Aviation website and download presets to further tune your tastes without all the hassle. Remember how the controls have specific setups for specific types of aircraft? I talked about it like 30 seconds ago, so we should probably we should probably all remember. There are even specific control profiles for the Boeing 737 MAX and Airbus A320neo, as well as more general 4-engine and single-engine profiles. That rules so hard. Do you have any idea how many hours I've spent messing around with control profiles in Flight Sim? It is at least as many hours as I've spent actually flying airplanes. Seriously, more than half the time I'm setting up a new controller, I mess something up. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'll absentmindedly assign a control input in conflict with one another and not notice, and then suddenly raising my flaps shuts down main engine power or something equally foolish. So as someone who's their own worst enemy, I welcome any chance to have the heavy lifting done for me. There's pretty much nothing I would change other than the fact that button 2 turns off the engine in my Cessna. I thought it was another view change button, whoops. So the Echo is customizable and satisfies a lot of the control requirements afforded to much bigger, much more expensive setups. But how does it feel? Because that is the most important thing of all, right? Well, it feels pretty damn good, actually. Obviously, if you're going for that full flight sim experience, yeah, it's not the same. But if you just want to sit down and fly around for a minute and then walk away without the hassles, it's freaking awesome. And in spite of being so much smaller than dedicated separate hardware, all the levers, buttons, sliders, and dials feel perfect in use. Flying with a thumbstick definitely feels a little weird after so much time behind a yoke or a flight stick, but it doesn't feel bad. It scratches the itch, my friends. The one thing I don't really like about it is the view control nubbin is right next to the thumbstick. So when I'm coming in on that downwind leg or basically trying to do any maneuver that requires me to pay attention to where I'm going, it is kind of awkward. Oh, and also that default button placement to kill the engine, but that is easy enough to change. Honestly, if you fly in VR with a Meta Quest, you obviously don't need to worry about controls for view. That's what necks are for. Having all your controllers in the palm of your hand means you don't need to fumble around to find the physical controls while you fly your pretend airplane in VR. I like that. The Honeycomb Aviation Echo controller isn't cheap. It's $150 right now. But when you stop to consider how much a larger setup with the same features will set you back, it kind of looks like a bargain. And more importantly, I feel like this is a flight controller for everyone. You don't need to be imbued with the powerful dad aura I possess to get this controller and start using it right away. Obviously, the cheapest and easiest option for flight sim is an Xbox controller. But if you want to start dipping your toes into that sim life, this is honestly a great option. It still suffers from the same inherent drawbacks of any specific controller in that you're not going to be playing Death Stranding 2 on your PC with this thing. And that way, it is definitely limited. But again, if you're really into flight sim and you want to take that first step, hell yeah. Absolutely bring this one home. Having the granularity of its individual controls mixed with its customization options just rules. And if you are a grizzled flight sim veteran dude, this is for you too. I know a lot of people out there who are serious and have built custom cockpit setups. This probably isn't for you, but at the same time, sure, I think it is. Now you can play Flight Sim on your Xbox, ROG Ally, or whatever in bed. If you're playing Flight Sim 2020, you can go offline and maybe play it on your next flight. The pilot of the plane might be so impressed, he comes out of the cockpit to personally invite you to take control. It could happen. At least that's the dream. I'm going to recommend this one for sure. Regardless of your level of commitment to the hobby, this is the kind of controller that's going to find a fit into your needs. Sure, $150 is a lot for a controller that only does one thing, but it does that one thing super well and in 19 different ways. More, actually, since there are at least 25 different buttons on this thing, plus the toggles and the rudder controls. It's great. I'm a fan. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a pizza to deliver to Maine's remote Matinicus Island. For more Flight Simulator, check out my review of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.